This is the holster that started it all, 6390 series, this is kind of the gold standard now. That's UBL Mid. This is UBL High. A lot of people don't even know this one exists. I'm specifically dressed the way that I'm dressed because everything affects everything else. Yeah. And it's completely locked up. And you guys saw how fast that happened. Locked up. Done. I would like to think that the majority of the dudes and or ladies that are on here know the material that I'm about to put out. But maybe you only know it in theory. You only know it because you did research. You don't actually have the means to compare and contrast these various holsters and stuff that we're talking about. So this Q&A or update is going to be physically showing some of the different options and products that are out there. I put on my armor. I'm going to show off my COVID belly, and I'm going to let you guys see a holster body with cant, a holster body without cant, a holster body on a high, mid, and low ride, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we got going on. Where to start? Okay, well, let's start with this holster here. This is the holster that started it all. I'm talking about the latest generation of goodness. This is the 6354 DO. DO stands for Dr. Optic. This holster was designed for a place where I used to work. And it was the first red dot compatible, designed for a red dot holster that Safariland made. This holster, while good, did not provide the breadth of capability. There were people that couldn't use multicam wrap holsters. There was people that needed SLS retention, whatever. So the DO, the 6354 DO, evolved into the 6390 series, this is kind of the gold standard now. Holster has a protective guard on it. They have versions that are SLS and ALS together. You can get it for different light combos. You can get it for different gun combos. This is this is now the number one red dot holster in the United States right now. So I got a bunch of them, a bunch of different ones around on different things, doing different whatevers. So UBL. This is UBL High. A lot of people don't even know this one exists. But this is UBL High. This is what an officer working plainclothes might use if they still needed retention or something like that. All right. And it is direct mounted to the holster. So it's very close to the body. How close, though? Well, there's your cant. And there's your clearance. Now, keep in mind, I am wearing side plates right now. I'm wearing side plates and 3 alpha backers. And I ain't exactly svelte. So, when you have to do some really contorted stuff in order to clean and access your pistol, we call that pinching the fat. If you've taken anybody's combat shooting classes, any of the speed freaks, they'll all tell you, oh, you got to minimize whatever. And it makes you faster to be consistent and not have to do things like shrug your shoulders, do this, do that, do whatever. But essentially, they're teaching you stupid human tricks from that perspective, because that aspect of your efficiency growth is tied to that rigid location or movement or whatever. So if you can't perform by doing that, how are you going to be able to perform when your car's upside down and you're holding your hand up on the roof and trying to draw and shoot a dude because your patrol vehicle's flipped upside down? You just got to accept, man, I ain't getting a sub-second draw inverted. So, but there's a statement to be made that if you can set your kit up to where you don't have to pinch the fat, then you want to have it set up so you don't have to pinch the fat. So without any movement, okay, rifle position, rifle goes down, coming across, defeating the retention, gun comes straight out, and I'm able to get the gun into the fight without a whole lot of extraneous whatever. It ain't optimal. This isn't how I would do business if I was able to have a different holster system. But there are times where maybe riding in a vehicle, like I said, plainclothes, what we call reduced signature, that is not covert. That's not undercover. Reduced signature means that you don't look like a SWAT team or a SWAT dude when you jump out of your vehicle. It's going to be a mix of some civilian clothes and, whatever. I might have a vest on like this, and then I might take the patch off and then have a plaid shirt on, but to have the plaid shirt kind of open. So from, 50 yards away looking through my thing, does it look like maybe I've got a wife beater on? I've got a shirt and it's open and I've got a wife beater on. I'm not stopped at a checkpoint with an officer looking right into my vehicle, asking to see my papers and trying to no, I don't have body armor on. I just want to be able to cruise through someplace and have somebody look and not immediately be cued to what's going on. And in a situation like that, a big, huge holster in a car, especially if you've got a couple of jocked up meatheads in a very compact space, when you start pushing your kit off to the sides so that it's optimal for your draw, it can be cramping other people's style. So that would be a reason why might choose to use a holster like this one, or I might just go to a straight concealed holster. But I could still get after it with this, and trying to draw from appendix with a plate carrier on is obviously going to be more problematic. So this is your standard Safariland UBL high. Okay, moving on to the next deal. The next thing we have is the UBL Mid. I've color-coded a bunch of these, so I've got rigs that are pre-done up with various whatevers. And when possible, I've tried to contrast the belt to the molded plastic to the holster body when I could. so that you could see them a little bit better on the video. So that's UBL Mid with the QLS, QMS, QLS fork system. If you have space issues, the QLS fork or QLS system is a good option for you. It pushes the gun out away from your body. I would not, this is just me, I would not use this if I was trying to keep it light, like not on a duty belt, but like routing this in to my pants belt like I used to do when I was still working. So I would have a rigger belt style, semi-rigid-ish rigger belt in my pants belt, and my holster would be pre-staged on my pants because my pants went on when it was time to work. They weren't the pants that I was wearing. They were my go-to-work pants, and they hung up much like a firehouse. Alarm goes off or whatever, and then I get out of my gym clothes. I get out of my whatever clothes. I quickly put on my pants and holster and tourniquets and IFAK and explosives, and all that is all rigged into the belt, routed into my pants and hanging on a hook. So if I could clear my side plate, which y'all just saw, I could clear my side plate with that pancake looking UBL high. So I'm definitely going to be able to clear my side plate with this and this. I would not have this on it, further kicking the gun out away from my body. Again, things like your Bearcats, helicopters, aircraft, whatever, where you're sitting in these bench style seats with other people. I would not have this on there. There is also a small chance, gun grabby, whatever, where this thing could have gotten pushed and you could lose the holster. There you go. Hey, you found your way home. Good. But the primary reason is just for the additional bulk and weight if I didn't need it. But as an instructor or a competitor or a shooting enthusiast, if you have multi-platform discipline, so you do like 1911s and 2011s, you also like Glocks, and you have a 320, and you have a CZ, and what if you're one of those dudes that just likes shooting a bunch of different guns, this is invaluable. I tried to find a mid UBL that was attached to one of my holsters, and I couldn't find it. I had converted every single holster. This is the only holster I could find that had something other than QMS, QLS attachment stuff on it. Safariland recently made a UBL hanger that allows you to adjust the orientation of the fork system or the holster to incur a straight drop. All right. That's huge. The FBI cant was a deal that the feds designed, and I believe it goes back to, the 80s, 70s, 80s, when they had the sport coat, G-Man shit going on, and the butts of the pistols were printing so badly. And so by orienting the gun forward on your strong side, you absolutely attack the amount that this thing prints. For a duty holster officer sitting in a vehicle with your stendo, magwell, all of that, it all gets affected when you kick back into the seat and try to get around to work that seatbelt. For those of you cops that are smart enough to wear your seatbelts. So Safariland does default to a forward cant design on their holsters. And they're adjustable. They're adjustable a little bit, but it ain't much, y'all. It is not much. This one is actually not maxed out. Interesting. On most of my forks, they were maxed out because of the problems that your hand is down here. You've got to get to the retention forward like this. It's driving your wrist forward to get a hold of the gun to get it out of the holster. So human efficiency wise, it was not the slickest, bestest way to defeat the retention and get the gun out of the holster fast. Another good advantage of the forks is this uses your Safariland 3-hole pattern. If you have aftermarket Kydex benders that are trying to do these open top Han Solo style rigs for really funky guns, like, I want one for my whatever, with a whatever flashlight, not X300 and not Glock, right? You can go to, Death Dealer Customs, whatever, Instagram, hipster, boog boy, Kydex shop, and they can make you, a holster, and they can make them pretty freaking stout. If you tell them it's going to be for an outside the waistband, they can do thicker materials for you so that you get holster body durability that is similar to Safariland. Now, I did not carry a ALS holster for a long time because by the time that this holster became available, I had already said F the doctor site and had thrown an Aimpoint Micro T on my shit. So I couldn't use this holster at all. So I have very little actual operational experience using ALS. I was running open top rigs for work. If I was going to do jumping or roping or something that popping that level 1 retention of the holster was going to cause me to lose my gat, then I had bungee cord or whatever that I could put up over the buttstock grip and retain the gun during the high dynamic movement, whatever, and then I could reach down and pop it off. And I know you guys are thinking that's pretty crazy. There's no way that you'll be able to do that. That's you shouldn't be needing to do something like that in a fight. If you guys go watch the video clip of the Italian job, there is a person in that video that comes into the field of view when they run off of those helicopters, and you can absolutely see my man reaching down and working some retention related something for his holster. And I believe it was actually they had some elastic bungee dust covers that were fabric that came up and seized around the top of the pistol and protected it during high brownout type of conditions to keep the handguns functional in that type of powdered sandblasty type of environment. And the individual is removing that protective fabric cover off of his pistol in the event that when he runs into that building, he has to do some type of rifle to pistol transition. So that is an example of a high repetition individual, somebody that has got a lot of stuff that they are able to do below the radar without cognitive thought and without it tripping up their OODA loop or whatever. So anyway, that covers the UBL Mid. And then we have the UBL Long. UBL Mid, UBL Long. All right. I'm sure the Safariland has the actual dimensions of how much additional drop that is. To me, it looks like an inch to an inch and a half probably of additional drop to the mounting platform. Remember, anything that you see that has a fork receptor on it, same 3-hole pattern, can go straight to a holster body. So if it's your duty rig and you only carry one kind of gun or whatever, you can screw that son of a bitch right in there and go to town. Go for what you know. Let's talk about UBL Long. All right, so this is a Lead Devil double belt system. Molly, very much like your Blue Alpha, your Ronin, whatever. Very, very stiff, very rigid. 2-belt system, Cobra buckle in the front. Veteran owned, I believe, or veteran cop owned. I got this from a good buddy of mine in Los Angeles Police Department, and he supports Lead Devil because it's a disabled former action guy, trying to make a living or what have you. So there is the only reason why you guys don't see me wearing the Lead Devil more is because the Molly does not start until right here. This is all Velcro overlap or whatever. So that's not a big deal. I can just put something that's Molly around it and on the other side. And how much stuff do y'all carry in front of the holster anyway? Patrol cops, you could have cuffs, you could have keys, you could have or TQ. That's 3 kind of important things. Key hanger, cuff hanger. I've seen voice recorders down here for some cats, whatever. But cuffs up front are I see that a lot with the officers. You'll notice I've had my cuff carrier here on this LE-ish rig. So I'm not going to use this leg strap because the next thing we're going to talk about is the goods and the bads of ALS and proper draw and all that shit. So, okay. So I'm wearing cry pants, and I did so by design because as we go through this, your decisions have second and third order effects. And so that's why I'm specifically dressed the way that I'm dressed, because everything affects everything else. So this is a UBL. Well, first off, This is a UBL, or this is a 6390, whatever, with no drop to it. This is straight drop on the fork. This is FBI cant. All right, so you can see my hand is here, gun significantly forward. Now, if I'm coming off of a rifle, that's not bad necessarily. I can come down onto it pretty good. But if I'm just hands at my sides, I'm having to come back to get to the gun. Now, Chuck, couldn't you rotate the holster around further forward? You can, but especially if you have to go stairs, walk up hills, do shit like that, when you move this thing around to the front, you're now crashing into your leg when you're moving. So there is a certain sweet spot where I don't want the gun back here. I'm not trying to conceal from a drop leg, but I can't have it as far forward as you'll see some of the gamer stage your stuff like, hey man, your holster's too far to the side. You need to run it up here. And I see dudes and they show up, with their gun all the way up here forward. And I'm like, probably the most efficient human way to do that. Probably not the most practical if you ever think you're going to need to get in the prone and crawl anywhere doing that, because your holster turns into a sand scoop and it's just collecting all that shit you're crawling over and jamming it right into your red dot optics as you're scooting across the dirt and the ground because somebody's shooting at your ass. So you've got to put everything into context. There are some ways that are more geared towards performance and efficiency, and there are some other ways that are geared to more general purpose. So this is, sorry, go back to my Night Fighter. Okay. So this is ALS defeated, pushed all the way in, and a straight and proper upward draw. Gun comes out, no issues, no drama. This is you freaking out because you're on the clock and you got to get this shot off in under a second to get Jedi's black belt shit. And you're all coiled up. Stand with your hands at your side. You've cheated and put one hand here. You've cheated and you're cupping the bottom of your holster here. And you are fucking ready to go. You're on fire. And you're going to get this shit. And then beep, it goes off. If you fucking get ahead of yourself and you start pulling up on this gun before you fully disengage, that ALS with the UBL long gun comes out, way out. And it's completely locked up. And you guys saw how fast that happened. Locked up. Done. Every professional gunfighter that I know that gave the UBL long, when they were looking at it on the internet, and maybe they got some flashbangs or some over here, they're like, oh, I want UBL long. Everyone that I have seen, matter of fact, the only person I know that still uses UBL long right now is Don Edwards. He's the only guy that I've seen that had one in recent memory, and that was off of a video that he did on with Warrior Poet Society a few days ago or whatever. It aired a few days ago. And Don more than likely probably either added a leg strap to that system or switched to the mid, based off Don getting his reps in. Because it's just one of those things, like if you're the right guy, if you're a fucking switched on guy, and you theorize about some gear, you're going to give it 110% and try to figure out how to make that gear work. But if you realize that you're either having to work way up here and be flawless in your execution, or else it doesn't work out well for you? Would you rather do 1,000 repetitions of never dorking up that retention in order to be comfortable carrying that belt drop? Or would you rather get a belt drop and potentially work some shit on your kit so that the chances of you having a problem are less? Now, I showed y'all thumb out, fingers here, start pulling before I do retention, bad. Now watch this. Full retention release with my thumb. All right, full retention release. There is no lockup on this pistol right now. I grab the gun and I torque it because I'm amped up. So the ALS has been defeated, but I've now canted the gun in the holster. Look, it wasn't much. Look at my elbow. I canted the gun in the holster. Now I fire my shit up. Exact same shit happens. Now, if I realize I'm doing it and I go back to neutral, I can get the gun out. But if Jedi's standing there with the clock looking at me, instead of figuring out what's going on, I'm going to do that. And you'll see back and forth, back, and panic ensues. You dorked up your draw and then doubled down on stupid. So, yes, if you do 1,000 dry fires, the chance of you kicking your elbow out while pulling the gun out and causing it to lock up are going to be less. Got it. Totally got it. Aries gear. Patrol belt. This is the beefy boy. If you're carrying a lot of shit, like no shit, like real police, full up duty belt, the Aries gear is about as good as it gets. Canted. I'm not going to move my feet. Straight drop. All right. So the mid, especially on a rigid belt, and when you look at the spacer or the slit in the UBL and the thickness of the duty belt, they matter. They matter. If the only thing retaining this holster and its ability to flex is the rigidity of your belt, then a rigid belt is going to provide you more rigidity. So depress, straight up, no problems. Grab it, panic, miss the button. I could still get it to flex. But because of the science of levers, this holster is not further down on the fulcrum, and so you're not going to get as much flex. And because you don't get as much flex, when you finally catch the button, you can get the gun out while it's flexed. So instead of doing that, you can do that and be like, and then get it out. Dorked up your draw to be sure, but you didn't pin the gun to your side like you would with a UBL long. So, UBL high, UBL mid, UBL long or low, whatever. Let's go back. Just so you guys think, just so you guys know, if I was to do this video again, I would have used another Aries gear belt. I've got one down on the floor so that we were comparing apples to apples. The Lead Devil is a 2-inch, and the Aries is your 2.5 or whatever, although you can get Aries gear and this one in various thicknesses. So that is that, along with the stiffening material, is a factor. But that primary factor is how much further away from the lever point that long is. So you can buy Safariland leg straps by themselves, or if you were either issued or dumb enough to get the drop leg thing from Safariland, they make double leg strap versions, and I always pull the top leg strap off to use for things like this later on. So leg straps. I've got a leg strap, and on the 3-hole system, you remove the bottom screw of the UBL, you slide it in there, and then you put the bottom screw back in, and voila, you're done. And I like having my plastic buckle right there just in front of my shit. That way there's no way that it's in here and I'm doing that, or having to try to reach around and buckle behind my leg, which is a non-starter. So I move that thing all the way up there. Sometimes I will leave a small piece of elastic right there in the event that something happens. Maybe I've got an EDC pocket knife that I can no longer use that pocket because of my shit. And I can take whatever clip-on item was in this pants pocket when I put my rig on, and I can clip it right there instead. Now, a lot of that has to do with how tight your leg strap is and how strong that your metal clip is on your item. But the chances of that getting caught and pushing out, pretty minimal. I guess it also depends on the physical activity that I'm doing. But so leg strap is right, basically, and this is why I'm wearing Cries. With the UBL long, the leg strap is right at the top. Could interfere with me getting into my pocket a little bit, but not. I could fight through it if I needed to. All right. So I would consider this if my duty setup had a lot of crap on here and I needed the extra distance down. What I'm wearing now, I consider to be as good as that. Mid with no strap, leg with strap, about even Stevens. The leg with no strap is going to bounce more when I'm running. The long with no strap, is also going to bounce. We talked about the draw flex, but when you're running, it's a huge pain in the ass, and it's a pretty gnarly snag hazard as well. Okay, so retention, fingers around, straight draw, gun comes out. No issues, no worries. Full. Grab, miss the button, pull, 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 pull. Yeah. All right. Leg strap. Huge, huge, huge benefit. Pulling, pulling, pulling. Now I hit the button. Whoa, look at that shit. Defeat retention. Torque it. Pull. Coming out. Defeat retention. Torque it. Pull it out. You guys saw how far that elbow went out? Gun still came out. So why did we get rid of leg straps? Because they suck. Because they suck. Our guys used to have to do all kind of PT in full kit, like evaluations. Like, we are going to evaluate you, but all of your marksmanship stuff was in the context of climbing crap, running from one place to another, going over a wall, climbing up a rope, crawling through a pipe. It was like an obstacle course, but with shooting shit involved. And when your first event is 1.5 miles away from your team room and you get the instructions for your shooting event, and the boss, whoever's running the event, he's got the clipboard and he's like, all right, and next team, your starting time is go. You are now wearing everything you would wear to actually do CQB, but your shooting, moving, and communicating that you're going to be graded on doesn't even start for 1.5 miles. So gas mask carriers, pistols that are floppy, pistols that are attached to the leg, all of that becomes a self-fulfilling, self-correcting problem. Guys start looking at how they can adjust their kit to make them more efficient. But they can't do it in a gamer kind of way. If they just said show up in kit and do whatever, it would look like the tactical games. They give them a packing list. You must have your safety line. You must have your gas mask. You must have your night vision goggles. You must have your full first aid kit. You must have X amount of magazines loaded to this loadout. You must have X amount of pistol reloads, whatever, loaded to this loadout. You must have your suppressor. You must have. And so you can't clean up your gear to make playing the game more efficient. You got to learn how to carry all of that more efficient if you want to be good at the game. And it just so happens that carrying that more efficient also transitions to running up and down the mountains in a foreign country, playing the real game. So, so there you go. UBL long, I personally consider only viable with leg strap. All right. Where does the UBL sit in relation to my cargo pocket? It's tight. The strap is low and it's starting to interfere with my ability to get the flap up on these pants. All right, I had to raise this up out of the way to be able to get in and then come in, and the UBL base is touching up under here. So there's only enough room for me to slide my hand in. And then depending on the size of the item that is in this pocket, I might have to pop my leg strap in order to extract whatever is in my cargo pocket out for use. Or I've got a mag, right? Partial, whatever. I want to retain it. I can get it in there and then get that flap closed, and I can move out. I can move out and retain that partial mag. And if I come back in here, either during a lull in the fight, I can take this and I can move it somewhere else in my gear, I can take this and I can consolidate it, shuck off the ammo. I got 2 partials. This one definitely feels heavier. I shuck out 5 rounds at a time from the lighter of the 2, and I added into the heavier of the 2. 5 more rounds, added in 5 more rounds. 1, 2. I only get 2 in there. Double check my follower and my spring tension to make sure I didn't load 31. And then I can take that mag that was 2 back down and top my kit back off. All right. So these cargo pockets are important to me. All of these cry pockets are important to me. So I could find a rig that is the sexiest for me to be able to dazzle people on a flat range, but it's going to come with a consequence. Now, if I'm a retired instructor, I might not care about that consequence because I'm not doing the thing anymore, right? I'm not doing the thing. But at that point, I'm kind of LARPing. I shouldn't be wearing tactical stuff in a way that is just completely not relevant to anybody. Not necessarily, my former job, but to a cop, to a park ranger, to anybody. You guys know what I'm saying? So anyway, wanted to show you guys UBL long draw. Get my knife back. So Safariland saw that guys were taking the old 6004. Yes, I know I have this on backwards. They were taking the old 6004 holster, which had a double leg shroud, and that was rectangled off, and they were cutting them out. And that was so if this thing was around and you were doing this, you weren't fighting against this squared off edge pushing into your pelvis. So they created this. It's adjustable for drop. The belt hanger to the leg piece is adjustable, and it has interfaces to be able to take Safariland accessories like a banger pouch or mag pouches or whatever. All right. Straight drop. Now, guys, I ain't gonna lie. This rig is shit hot. It is extremely consistent. The gun is right where you want it when you go to draw. And the gun does not move at all. The gun is completely isolated. You're not going to have any shifting from drill to drill or any of that crap. Great setup if I was a flat range guy. And I'm not saying that flat range guys are the only people that use these. Blowers uses this leg panel, and Blowers used it, I believe, when he was still doing SWAT work. The nature of that job, that SWAT job, means that you might not need to be sticking magazines or extra bombs or whatever, water, food, in your cargo pockets. So Bill probably was okay with what he had going on over here. I know dudes that wore this rig for anything that was like HR related stuff, right? And the guys that did that were drop leg guys that wore them even in Iraq, even in wherever. They loved their Safariland 6004. The thing they all had in common is they all wore them up as high as they could possibly get them. They wore them with a single leg strap, and they wore them with a single leg strap. But a bunch of those dudes went so far as to cut this entire cargo pocket and this pocket off of their uniform altogether. So you could see them, you could see the dudes that were drop leg dudes, because it's like, why the f would I even have this here? This is just making me hot, making me sweaty, getting snagged on shit, like get rid of it. And so they just cut the entire pocket off to make room for their drop leg holster to be there. But you could see now the flap is up here, the leg strap is down here. This pocket is pretty much useless. I might be able to slide a mag in up under the pot, up under it or whatever, but it's not functional. I can't get to anything in here and pull it out and immediately use it. The front pocket maybe. So if I was domestic LE, SWAT dude or whatever, I would consider running this rig. It is absolutely from a range toy performance level, that it's not going to get much faster and sexier from a quick draw McGraw than this holster right here. ALS on a leg platform. I can, and I'm no speedster, but I can do, 0.7, 0.8 alphas at 7 yards out of a rig like this. The last Safariland configuration is UBL Mid with leg strap. Got this on my Blue Force Gear safety belt. Same way with the UBL low. Take the bottom screw out, put your leg strap in there. I grab the fabric of my pants, I pull it up into my junk, and then I run it like that. And that gives me a little bit of extra fabric up here high. And you get all the same benefits as far as keeping this thing from flexing out on you. Get all those same benefits with this mid, but it comes up so much higher. So full use of my cargo pocket. Full use of my front pocket. I can get in there, I can get to items, get back out. So yeah, boy.